Long at last, the Democrats are getting aggressive, they're throwing more punches, and are going on the offense to leave no stone unturned this election cycle, beginning with the Democratic National Convention that kicks off tonight. And so ahead of the Chicago convention, Kamala Harris took to a local venue in Rochester, Pennsylvania, and slammed Donald Trump as a coward for beating people down.
This campaign is about a recognition that, frankly, over the last several years, there's been this kind of perversion that has taken place, I think, which is to suggest that the measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you beat down, when what we know is the real and true measure of the strength of a leader is based on who you lift up. That's what we see as strength. We know what strength looks like. That's what strength looks like. Anybody who's about beating down other people is a coward. This is what strength looks like.
This is excellent messaging, continuing the campaign of unity while reminding voters that bullying does not equal strength or leadership, because Donald Trump is not the macho man he so desperately tries to brand himself as. Instead, he's a draft dodger who just doubled down on his position that it's better to receive the Presidential Medal of Freedom instead of the Congressional Medal of Honor.
Many veterans are upset about that, including here in Pennsylvania.
No, I didn't hear that. I only heard, when I say better, I would rather in a certain way get it, because people that get the Congressional Medal of Honor, which I've given to many, are often horribly wounded or dead. They're often dead. They get it posthumously. And when you get the Congressional Medal of Honor, I always consider that to be the ultimate, but it is a painful thing to get it. When you get the Presidential Medal of Freedom, it's usually for other things, like you've achieved great success in sports or you've achieved great success someplace else. When you get the Medal of Honor, generally speaking, and I've met many of them and I've seen the families of many of them, this is an incredible honor, but it was a statement that it's much more painful to get because they're oftentimes in very bad shape. I've seen them come up and they've suffered greatly, whereas the Presidential Medal of Freedom, to my knowledge, I don't think anybody suffered other than they've worked hard and they've done great things. One's a military award, one's a civilian award, but sometimes very painful to get the other.
This man detests veterans with every fiber in his being. No apology for his unpatriotic remarks, just more of the same anti-veteran word salad that got him in trouble in the first place. It's no wonder why he's losing to Kamala Harris in the polls, and even as people like lapdog Lindsey Graham admitting that Donald Trump, the provocateur, may not win this election.
In the advice-giving column, here's what I would say. President Trump can win this election. His policies are good for America, and if you have a policy debate for president, he wins. Donald Trump, the provocateur, the showman, may not win this election.
Only problem with that, Lindsey, is that Trump and your party's policies on abortion, climate, guns, democracy, and the proposed tax hikes that you guys have for the middle and working class are extremely unfavorable with a majority of the country. So even if the 78-year-old adjudicated rapist could pull it together and discuss the issues, he'd still be damaging his floundering campaign all the same. In fact, it seems all he's able to do these days is torpedo his candidacy by posting psychotic, all caps messages on Truth Social, like this one he released this morning about making crime his top priority. And it reads, quote, "Crime in America is out of control. I am going to make it, along with the economy, inflation, strong borders, and energy dominance, my top priority," says the convicted felon who tanked the economy, who caused inflation with his reckless leadership during COVID, who failed to build the wall, and who sabotaged Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's border funding deal that would have secured the border that he incessantly complains about. And by the way, crime rates are down under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's administration. Seriously, guys, isn't it exhausting to hear the never-ending onslaught of negativity and dread that this man carries with him to every speech, every post, and every poorly attended rally he holds? That's why it was so refreshing to hear Tim Walz speaking off the cuff during a mini rally in a Pennsylvania parking lot about how his and Harris's campaign is about leaving the darkness of Trump in the past.
Some of us who have less hair and are old enough can remember when you could go to Thanksgiving, watch a Steelers game with your relatives, and not complain about politics the whole time, not be on each other's necks, because you shared a commitment to democracy, a commitment to personal freedom, a commitment to public education, a commitment to infrastructure. We don't call each other names. We don't do it. And we don't use the least fortunate amongst us as punchlines for our jokes because they're our neighbors. They're our neighbors. And so you're getting an opportunity to see the best side of America. And for the young people here, they maybe haven't seen a campaign like this because of COVID, because of the things that's happening. This is a chance to bring out that joy, turn the page, and look to the future.
That is the type of energy and message that will win this election, because when it boils down to it, it is a choice between hope and fear, which I'm sure will be the central theme of the DNC, which kicks off tonight in Chicago with speeches from Jill Biden, Chicago's mayor, Hillary Clinton, and the legendary Joe Biden, the president who is responsible for making all of this incredible momentum wave possible. I'm fired up for tonight's convention, and in 78 days, I look forward to turning the page on the final chapter of Donald Trump. So, to the DNC we go. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Gen Z Perspective. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the show and give us a 5-star review on Apple, because as you can see, the MAGA lunatics have bombarded the podcast with 0-star reviews. I think we're worth a little more than that, but I also think it shows you how terrified they are of our generation. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time on the Gen Z Perspective. The Gen Z Perspectives theme song was created and produced by Pokari.